Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lord PeteyTV. Now, this is Petey once again, or Pete, whatever you prefer to call
Oh,
me.
I'm sorry.
And I'm here to just inform you a little bit of information about this dungeon called
I
Blackenhide
don't know why
Hallow.
it's acting the way it
Before
is,
we
Liv.
start, please make sure you hit that subscribe button here,
Keeps breaking
or
every so
go
often, so
to
just getting
our Twitch
busted.
page and make sure you hit follow there, Lord PeteyTV, and enjoy the video. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you.
I'm bringing a dude, I'm sorry.
Wait, since you're Mistweaver, can you just spell diseases?
Yep. Ken is Windwalker too.
And get ready, because this fucking dungeon has a lot of the spells you're gonna have to do. Here's the first cauldron right here.
Just use it right now.
Yeah, just use it, and everybody clicks on it.
Who's stealing our meat?
Oh, and then you get the option to cleanse.
Yep, you get the option to cleanse yourself. Be having a
Now,
heal me
the
on
first
this one.
boss in this dungeon is actually more like three bosses. There's three different bosses that are pertaining to this, and it's called the Hack Claws Warband. Now, this includes Rita, Gashtooth, and also Trick Totem. Now, each of them have their own special abilities, but one that they have altogether is that for every 10% of player health missing, they are going to end up getting 10% haste. So please be aware of that. So make sure that the healers are keeping everybody topped off as much as they possibly can. Now, the first person we're going to talk about is Rita. She is the more like the tankish type class or warrior type class. Now, she's going to be very, very deadly, so very watch out for the tanks. She's going to charge, and she's going to inflict large amounts of damage to those targets. In addition to that, she's got a Blade Storm, which means she's going to end up, dealing lots of damage to everybody around them. And then on top of that, you're going to end up having a Cleave. So she's going to end up hitting all melee characters in front of her for 8 yards. So just be careful of those. Now, the next person I want to talk about is Trick Totem. This one is a little bit more unique. He ends up, summoning a totem that ends up incapacitating a person.
Doesn't have
That now we have to make sure you destroy that and continue forward. They also have a heal called Greater Healing Rapids. Make sure you interrupt those so that those don't go off. They also have an ability. Now, Trick Totem also has an ability called Blood Frenzy. Now, Blood Frenzy, what they're going to end up happening is that they're going to end up essentially lusting for every single one of the characters that are no longer around. So be careful of that. Now, Trick Totem also has this a bit like pretty much a projectile attack for an earth bolt. So be aware of that. It's going to inflict damage, and you're just going to have to heal through it. Now, Gashtooth is more like a rogue type, and he's going to have an ability called Decaying Senses, where he flings an alchemy bag of decay at a target, inflicting nature damage and blinding them. This is also going to increase their physical damage taken by a large amount, so make sure you want to end up staying away from those. Now, he also has pretty much a Shadow Step, which is also going to be followed by this pretty much an ambush attack, which is going to cause a large amount of damage and going to cause a bleed. So the healer has to make sure they start healing that person to over 90% health so they're good. They also have a thing called March marked for butchery. Now that's going to be a focus attack, which they're going to inflict a large amount of damage in a short amount of time. So the healer wants to be really, really careful of that.
Warriors can
It gave me more
pump.
mana, so
Now the next individual we end up going after here is Gutshot. He doesn't have to be. You can go after Treemouth next, but this is the one we decided to go after. Now Gutshot calls out for help every so often for 2 hyenas to aid her in battle. So make sure you end up DPSing those down quickly. The reason why you want to end up DPSing those down quickly is because they have a nasty, nasty bleed that you have to make sure you heal through for the healer. So the faster you can take down the hyena, the faster you don't have to worry about that. They also have a leap, which ends up stunning all the players within 3 yards of the leap. So it's kind of easier to just get rid of them as fast as possible. Now, he also has an ability called Hunter's Tactics, which also increases his damage done within a couple of yards
I hate mining.
and
Mining is
reduces
like one of
the
the
cooldowns of
professions
all
I
the
dislike the most.
people around them, including the
I don't know if it's
hyenas.
because
So
it's
be
like you
careful
have
of
to
that.
fly nodes.
He
Same
also
with
has an
herbalism.
ability called
Like, when it comes to
ensnaring
skinning, it's like, alright,
ensnaring
well, I
trap.
can skin all these
Now
300
Gutshot
mobs in the
launches a
same
trap
Good.
to a random person and trapping all the creatures that are close to them for a small amount of damage for a couple of seconds. Now if you end up
Of the awakened ones? Which is the awakened ones?
going in there on mythic difficulty, when this is triggered for the first time, the trap will automatically rearm itself a couple of seconds later. He also has an ability called Meat Toss, which makes a person smell like meat, which is causes all the hyenas to go and attack that individual. Now this is going to cause something called a feeding frenzy, which is going to be that the hyenas are going to begin chasing the target, and they're going to cause a large amount of damage, and they're going to be enraged. So they're going to cause even more damage. He also has an ability called Master's Call, which is going to end up being an ability from those hyenas, which are going to free them from any ensnaring trap that is around. It's going to make them immune, and they're going to start increasing speed going after everybody. So be very, very careful of that. Now, as for tanks, be careful of Guts Shot. Now, this is going to be a large amount of damage that's going to hit the tank, and it's going to knock them back. So be very, very careful of that ability. Now, the next boss we're going to be talking about is Treemouth. He has many different abilities, but I'm going to talk about them as quick as possible, and I'm going to talk about the easier ones now. So what he ends up having is a Vine Whip, which ends up, striking the tank and knocks everybody else back that's close to the tank and pushes them back. He also has a Spit effect, which is a random disease that he ends up putting on somebody throughout the whole entire area. Now, the more unique ability he has is something called the Decay Spray, where he ends up, spitting out a bunch of grossness, of green in front of him, inflicting damage to any players that are in front of them, and also summoning decay slimes. Now, these slimes have to be attacked and killed quickly, because if not, they will become highly unmanageable, and they're just going to start essentially doing damage to everybody in the room. They also have something called a Gushing Ooze, which is end up going to be doing like an AoE damage to all players close to them, so it's easier for range to just take them and burn them as quick as possible. Now, the thing that's very, very unique about Treemouth is that he has this this pretty much drag in called Grasping Vines. Now, the way that what happens when Grasping Vines happens is that some person is going to be consumed or not consumed. Now, it is better to have one person consumed than nobody at all. Now, you might be asking yourself why. So, when you do get consumed, this one individual is going to take a decent amount of damage that you're going to be able to heal through, but he's not going to be ending up getting an enrage. If you end up not having anyone consumed, then he's going to end up getting fully enraged. If he ends up consuming somebody and then taken out of the consume early, he's going to also have a small enrage. So you got to make sure that when a person is consumed, they are fully consumed for the whole entire time, and then they are spit out. Now, this is going to be a huge amount of damage, so be very, very aware of it, and the healers be careful, because this is the one kind of interesting and more difficult part of this fight.
Because I'm gonna be, trying to.
So we're going to talk
take care of
about
and everything.
the Decanthered Rathi. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% positive. I'm terrible at spelling and pronouncing these names. But anyway, I just wanted to all, kind of go through this. Now, this is kind of one of the more annoying
what it is?
bosses in
Dude,
here.
you know what I like to
It's
call
actually
this? I
very
call this
easy,
the
but just
Assassin's Creed dilemma.
annoying.
Assassin's
Now,
Creed
it's
dilemma
going to be a
is
lot
when
harder
you're
in
trying
Mythic
to do
difficulty,
one
as
freaking
we've been dealing
objective,
with
but
in
30
normal
fucking
and Mythic
objectives
Zero.
pop up out of
But
nowhere, and you're like, oh, I gotta do all
now,
of these.
let's just kind of go down. Now,
Because Assassin's Creed.
now Rathi
I
is
swear
going to,
started that
he's
crap.
going to end up having this ability
Oh,
called
look at
Decaying
Cyclops. Oh,
Strength,
look at
where he is
Cyclops. I
going
know
to
WoW's been doing it for longer
ask
than
for a
Assassin's Creed,
deadly ritual,
but it,
converting
like,
players
That's the first time I started doing it.
withering rot into
No,
direct
you can tell,
damage
back
and
in the
weakening
original times,
them.
it was like you needed
And
to
now
do these to
you have to
level
really,
to
really be
get
careful
your
of that,
stuff
and you have to
done.
get off those
But,
decaying
like,
rots
Assassin's
as
Creed was the
fast as
first time, like, you didn't
possible.
need to do those
Now
other
he also
things.
has an ability called
But, like,
Withered
in WoW, now it's like,
Explosion,
oh, I like
where
this.
the
Oh,
player
cool.
erupts damage to all enemies nearby, taking damage and applying Withering
Just
Rot.
nice.
Now he also has something called a Robust Totem. Now we have to, as DPS, take that down as fast as possible so that we don't have to deal with the stun that comes with it. Now, it also produces
Did you
rot
understand
on
what I was
top
saying
of that.
before?
Now, the rotting burst, you have to be careful of that because the damage is going to be applied to everybody, and also with the Withering Rot. Now, like I said before, the Withering Rot is going to be the biggest thing you have to be careful of. So try to deal with that as best as you can. He also produces this cloud that ends up circling around the room. Now, during this cloud, it's going to generally move in one direction
that was
from what
definitely
I've
the-
seen.
Now that I
But
got
if
him
you end
done.
up going into it, you're going to end up getting
No,
Withering
I
Rot.
finished him earlier
So
today,
be
so
very,
I'm
very
good.
careful of that. And tanks, be very, very careful of the Decaying Strike,
So
which
easy.
the
Just do it for him.
which Rathi will then end up afflicting on you, which is going to cause lots of physical damage. It's also going to partially do healing taken, so you're going to even be taking less healing during that time. So be very aware of that, and be very, very careful.
A massive step